Hi guys, Going Green Mom here, not on a Friday, mainly because it took me most of the day to work on this project. I was running behind and didn't get this done on Thursday like I had planned, and instead I wound up working all day Friday on it. So what I am doing, I am trying to make a water chestnut flatbread that looked like it would be a good replacement for tortillas. Now, the water chestnut flour, as you just saw, is low oxalate, low histamine, full of luteolin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, that's mast cell stabilizing, and it's also anti-inflammatory. Now, I did get this recipe from the Histamine Chef, and you'll notice she likes to use some of my favorite ingredients. So I am adding some garlic in here, I'm adding some onion in here, and then some salt. Now, she had said that she added the salt just because it's pretty. I can tell you it is definitely needed. But those are all very histamine lowering foods, assuming you're not using like iodized table salt, which can actually be a histamine liberator. So anyway, I did use pink Himalayan. That is what we like around here. And I'm just kind of let you guys watch my fails. I think I caught most of them on the text in the video and talk to you a little bit about what I did. So the point of this project was to try to replace tortillas because I have been craving tacos. But of course, I grew up on flour tortillas, not corn tortillas, and they just aren't the same. So I was hoping this would be a replacement for that and that it would work. It was not. So anyway, over the course of time, I made, I think, 4 batches total, which was about 8 things of flatbread. And I can tell you it was yummy for the most part. I only threw out 1 batch. And that was the batch that I did not use actual green onion tops in. I tried to use powdered onion. And I tried that because if you watch these potential flip possibilities, most of them would tend to split where there were pieces of onion. Maybe not so much this one. This one actually turned out fairly decently large chunks, but like especially around the edges where there were onion pieces, it would start cracking and then they would kind of fall apart. Now, her recommendation on this was to cook it 3 minutes on one side, flip it 3 minutes on the other, and then you could put it in the oven and go on to the next one. I'm taste testing. That's where those are going. I'm taste testing. And it did actually taste really good. I did not like the taste of it after it came out of the oven, though. So, when you're pan frying this, essentially, it will get like little crispy bits and the edges will get crispy and crunchy. And those were super delicious. But as soon as you put it in the oven, it would generally absorb all of the oil into it and get this weird sort of dry flavor. I don't know. It was weird. Overall, I still ate it. Now this one, so the first batch I made with her 1/2 cup, and the second one on that batch, I think I added another 1/4 cup, and that was too much water. The second batch, I think I used 1 cup of water instead of 1/2 cup of water, and that would be this one. And it was just too runny for the heat in the pan. It immediately bubbled and got dry rather than taking a little bit longer. And this flour is a little interesting to work with. It sort of gets this gummy gelatinous quality. Oh yeah, and I did try onion powder at one point, thinking maybe it would help with the falling apart at the onion bits. It did help with that, but it did not taste good. So we are back to oniony bits. I did start cutting them up more than she did. I was kind of watching what she did and trying to do the same or similar. Next time, I think I will probably, this probably would have worked out if I had let it cook for another couple of minutes. Now, that being said, when I would do these flips and stuff, it had started to dry out, which was her instruction. Some of them would crack, some of them wouldn't. I think that had to do with how it had reacted with the water. It was very finicky. You could tell differences if you didn't actually re-stir it up in between. Like this one, I think I swirled around a bit, but I didn't actually take the fork and stir it up a second time. But then other times it would seem like it would absorb more. If you've done any gluten-free cooking, you understand the dilemma here. The different flours take different lengths of time to absorb water and are more or less likely to become like a batter. Some of them, it just seems like they just immediately fall to the bottom and they don't really want to be suspended or absorb the water. This is sort of an in-between, especially after it gets put on the heat, because it does sort of cook and dry out, but it sort of, I don't know, it's weird. It kind of has the only word I can come up with is gelatinous. But it's like you can see that it's sort of starting to dry out on top. You can see where some of the oil has gone over the edges, around the sides. But it has this desire to stay pliable, which is good. That's what I want. But it seems like in that state, it's not terribly strong. Whereas after it's cooked and together, it's actually strong like you would expect from a gluten-y type bread. Whereas most gluten-free breads would just sort of fall apart at that point. So it's been a very entertaining experiment for me. Trust me, otherwise it wouldn't have lasted for, I guess, I started at 10 in the morning and I stopped at 5:30. So I guess it was an interesting 7.5 hour experiment. We'll try again next time.